The dreaded wet dream. You are a good little no-fapper. You are fast asleep, haven't ejaculated in 2 weeks. But then suddenly you start dreaming about Yennefer from The Witcher. The games, not the series. And suddenly, uh-oh, what is happening? You wake up in a puddle of your own man juices. I have actually made a video before on wet dreams, but I keep getting the question, how do I prevent having wet dreams? So I guess that either a lot of people didn't see that video or that is something that I didn't talk about in enough depth in that video. Anyway, in this video I'm going to go into more depth about how to prevent having wet dreams, or at least how to have them less frequently, because that might still be possible. Because the first point I'm going to make, how do you prevent having wet dreams, is you don't. You cannot prevent having wet dreams. And you probably shouldn't want to either. It probably doesn't matter. Yes, I know, there's the whole semen retention argument. I am not trying to claim that I think that semen retention is complete nonsense. I've tried semen retention, and when I'm on retention for a week, then I do feel like one hyped motherfucker. But still, that is nothing compared to what quitting porn can give you. I'm going to make this statement for most people, practically everyone on Nofap. Quitting porn is going to give you 99% of what you want, and having an orgasm every once in a while, it really isn't such a bad thing. In fact, the hypothesis around a wet dream is that our body has a wet dream to flush our systems when it needs to. Because when you haven't had an orgasm in a long time, there's a lot of, let's say, pressure that builds up, especially in the prostate. You guys probably know that feeling. When you're on retention for a long time, you eventually get to that point where there's just so much pressure on your prostate that it feels like you have to piss, even though you don't have to piss, right? You just went to the toilet and you're like, what the hell's going on? It still feels like I have to piss. Well, that isn't your bladder that's about to explode, but it's your prostate. And so what your body does to make sure that your prostate doesn't actually explode, or something less severe, but well, to make sure that things are all right and there's no complications in the long term, it releases that pressure in your sleep in the form of a wet dream. So arguably, a wet dream is something you do not want to prevent because it's a very natural and healthy thing. That being said though, there are probably some things that you can do to at least make them less frequently. Now the first thing you need to know is that they probably just get less frequent over time. When you just start doing Nofap, you just start quitting porn and you don't have any orgasms, your body is all like, ooh, what the hell's happening? And so you might have a lot of wet dreams. Doesn't happen to everyone, but it happens to some people. You get a lot of wet dreams, but over time, the frequency starts to decrease and it isn't really a big problem anymore. Also, what you can do is try to not think sexy thoughts before you go to bed. Because the thing that you think right before you go to sleep is often the thing that you end up dreaming about. Even worse, if you start watching dirty images or videos, well, there's a very high chance that you're going to dream these things. So instead, do something else, distract yourself by reading a book or whatever it is you like to do that is a non-sexy, low dopamine, non-blue screen activity. Then another point I want to make, and this one is a little bit of a rant, which is most of the time when I get people messaging me that talk about having wet dreams very frequently, like every week or several times a week, most of the time these are people that are fooling themselves. They, let's call it, cheat on Nofap. Because these people, they still watch the dirty videos. They edge to porn, but they don't ejaculate, and so they tell themselves that they are doing Nofap. And because they are edging all the time, their body builds up all that prostate fluid all the time, and it's going to want to release it all the time, and so they end up having a lot of wet dreams. But then they end up questioning themselves, or even asking me a question saying, how could this be? I'm on Nofap, but I'm having these wet dreams all the time. Please help me. Well, guys, if this is you, then the truth is, you are lying to yourself. You are lying to me. So stop it. If you are going to watch the dirty videos and edge to them all the time, then obviously you are going to have a lot of wet dreams. So in short, if you want to reduce wet dreams, definitely don't add to the dirty videos, don't have any sexual thoughts before you go to bed. I'm not saying that you should never have sexual thoughts. Again, having sexual thoughts is natural and it's good for you, but don't do it right before you go to bed. Just distract yourself or something. If you have wet dreams very frequently when you first start doing Nofap, they will probably become less frequent. And overall, even if you still have them, like once every 2 weeks or once a week, I personally wouldn't care, because again, I think having an orgasm every so often or even every day isn't a big deal. I have a girlfriend, I regularly have orgasms. Again, I don't think that semen retention is complete nonsense, but I do think that quitting porn is going to give you 99% of the results that you're looking for. So don't worry that much about wet dreams. There's not that much you can do to prevent them, neither should you want to.